All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is January 13th, 2025. This is the BYOB Market Wrap Up, Trades and Review with me, John Kerrigan. I moderate the BYOB Trading Room. Tough day today. Tough day for me anyways. Let's go take a look at some charts. SPY, my pivot right here was 581.15. We got underneath it and we never went any lower. We gapped down to here and kind of waffled around down here, made a little triple bottom, had a little M pattern, and the bears failed to close the deal. So the bulls took over and rode it all the way back up to the pivot, filled the gap, filled the bearish gap. So on the 10-minute chart, pretty sure we got a 10-minute uptrend going into the close. We'll look for some continuation on that coming tomorrow. On the 2-hour chart, what do we have here? 2-hour downtrend still going into the close. On the daily chart, see what today's candle is. Lower high, lower low, closing under bearish trap underneath the 17 EMA. Little extended there, okay? So there's daily chart. Let's take a look at, still got that head and shoulders pattern. And you can see the neckline right through here. Okay, so price action got down there, and the bulls decided they didn't want us filling they didn't want us to take over with the head and shoulders pattern. I was counting on price to come down here and pop this, actually trade down to this breakup candle low. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Did get some bearish divergence on the RSI. We'll see what happens. Let's take a look at QQQ. Lower high, lower low, closing under the trap underneath the 17, still in a downtrend. Diamond Dow, lower high, lower low, closing under the trap, closing inside the trap underneath the falling 17, still in a downtrend. Let me see QQQ one more time. Yeah, FNGU. FNGU, lower high, lower low, closing under the trap, under the 17, still in a downtrend. IWM, lower high, lower low, closing under the trap, under the falling 17, still in a downtrend. So all of the Fab 5 are still in downtrends. Let's take a look at our technicals. Today, technicals, they just waffled around inside the sell zone. Finally, at the end of the day, they got that triple bottom and broke out, wound up meandering our way into the seller's chop zone. Stayed out of the oversold zone for the most part all day. T2123, selling from the beginning of the day, said this is probably going to be a rubber band candle. And you can see after the double bottom, the bulls took over to sling price back up to this all-time high. Anyways, that prior all-time high there. You can see price action. We got the falling 200 SMA right there. So nice work, but no cigar for T2123. They failed to fill the gap. SPY. Let's look at who filled gaps and who didn't. All right, let's go back to T21, 23. Okay, let's go back to who filled gaps and who didn't. T2123 failed to fill the gap. IWM filled the gap. You can see right here because we closed here. We went all the way back up. Diamond Dow filled the gap. SPY filled the bearish gap. FNGU. Notice something here? This is the big boys. No gap fill on FNGU. So that's not a good sign considering this dominates SPY and QQQ as far as the price action. So if they trade, if they're still bearish, that's a bullish candle today, but remember they gapped down, failed to fill a gap. So T2123 also failing to fill the gap there. Take a look at the 3-bar chart. Price action down inside this prior all-time high right there. Still underneath the falling 17. still underneath the flat 200 SMA. FNGU, take a peek at this, kind of gap down, bearish gap, and then just move to the right in a bear flag pattern. So we'll see. Maybe they want lower. That's what it looks like to me. They're itching to come down here and test this support area right here, 518.07. We'll see tomorrow. Let's take a look at a few sectors. Let's start off with oil and gas. Actually, let's just do the XLE. All right, try it again. XLE. All right, XLE, pick it up over here. Price action, finding its way back to the midpoint, finding its way back to the all-time high anchored VWAP there. Nice move on XLE. Okay, XLE, even though it's stuck in a downtrend, all right, is not moving down. It's moving up. All right, so we moved up to here. I think that's probably it. You can see that's probably the biggest green candle at the end of the move. Chances are we're going to roll over back to this uptrend line, possibly even some support identified right through this area right here, around 86, 89 area. So there's XLE on the daily chart. Maybe they get continuation tomorrow. I don't think so. We'll see. All right, they're holding it up there. So let's take a look at it on the 10. That's a move up, a double top, but all in all, that's a bull flag. They're holding the higher ground up there at the end of the day. Unlike the day before, that would be Friday, a move up and gave it up. And then notice today we moved up and a little bit different. We held the higher ground on XLE. So there's a possibility for another move up higher. We'll see what happens. All right, so there's XLE. Come back to the daily chart. You see price action coming all the way back to the midpoint. So this would be neutral. All right, neutral bearish, neutral. All right, on XLE. All right, again, in a downtrend, but not moving down, moving up and making it all the way back to the 50-yard line right there. So that's XLE. Let's take a look at UNG. UNG price action is an outside day, trying to hold that higher ground, way above that rising 3 EMA there. Lower low and higher high, closing over the bullish trap, over a rocket ship 17 right there. So there's UNG, definitely an uptrend. UNG closing up in quadrant 4. Nice work for UNG. Let's take a look at USO. USO also in an uptrend, making a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over the rising 17 EMA, up in quadrant 4, challenging this peak right here. So we'll see what they want to do with that. Okay, you can notice price action kind of faded from there the day before. Then we gapped up and went back up there to test it again. Curious if they held the higher ground, and they did. Notice we went up, kind of gave it up, and then we come back up, and now we're holding. It's a nice look for USO. Maybe another move to the upside. We'll see. I think we're asking a lot. That 3 and the 17 really look extended on the daily chart. They're almost vertical right there on USO. All right, let's take a look at precious metals. Both are in downtrends. SLV, lower high, lower low, closing under the trap, under the 17, still in a downtrend. Again, moving up, giving it up, just neutral here, caught underneath the midpoint. Down in quadrant 2, start making their way down here, and it's going to be neutral bearish. Right now, they're kind of leaning on neutral bearish right now. Get down in here, and I think we're going to call it bearish right there. So there's silver on the daily chart, still stuck in a daily downtrend. Gold, all right, price action, lower high, lower low, closing inside a bullish trap, over a wavy 17 EMA, up over the all-time high anchored VWAP, closing there. It's a nice look for gold. Gold kind of still holding up here in the upper third. Neutral bullish on gold. Again, got the triple crown up here, all right? high, high, high. We actually got another high over here. Quadruple crown right there. So we'll see what happens with this. Here's gold up here, kind of just can't seem to break this area right through here. All right, we're just going to call it 250. So 250 presenting some whole side resistance for GLD. Still in a downtrend unless they take out this high. If they take out that high, they negate the downtrend and convert the uptrend. All right, let's take a look at SMH. SMH, lower high, lower low, closing over the all-time high anchored VWAP, but underneath the bearish trap, underneath the 17. Again, still neutral, moving up, giving it all up there. KSMH, still neutral right there. Let's take a look at XLK, technology sector. Again, moving up, giving it up, just neutral, no longer. All right, lower high, lower low, closing under bullish trap. Okay, under the bearish trap, underneath the 17, underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. Just neutral there, moving up, giving it up on XLK. Really sloppy chart there. Let's take a look at XLF financials. Oh, financials are gearing up. All right, XLF. All right, financials finding some support off this prior low anchored VWAP right there. That's the breakup candle low anchored VWAP. Price action bouncing right off of this area right here, right on the pink line. Price action, lower high, lower low, closing under the trap, under the 17. Still just neutral on XLF, neutral bullish. All right. Again, making lower low here. So almost taking out this low here, but definitely took out that low right there. So, I mean, you can call it a downtrend, you can call it a pullback. Either way, it's not moving up. That's the problem. Price action up over the midpoint, that's good, but moving up and giving up almost 90% of it. That's just neutral right there. XLFs. Take a look at XLU in a downtrend, making a lower high and a lower low. Just neutral, not moving up at all. Caught underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP, caught underneath the falling 17, closing underneath the midpoint here, just losing it altogether, moving up and giving it up right there. XLU, XLI, kind of the same deal, but a little bit different. Wait, they closed up over the midpoint, whereas XLU closed under. Price action closed over a bullish trap, over a bearish trap, but underneath the falling 17, underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. XLI looking a little bit stronger than XLU this time, closing up over the midpoint. Okay, so we'll see where XLI goes tomorrow. It's a big candle. See, it's a bullish engulfing. See if we get any follow through on XLI. All right, let's take a look at XRT. This is our retail sector. You can see right here, making a low, making an even lower low. Still an uptrend, but you know, it did take out this low and this low. Again, moving up and giving it up. All of this consolidation, price actions right back in the prior consolidation here. Moving up, giving it up, just neutral on that. Price action finding some support at the midpoint and the uptrend line. We'll see where they go tomorrow on XRT. So possible bounce looking like it could happen tomorrow. Look at that XLF bouncing. Look at XLI was bouncing. XRT looks to be bouncing off this midpoint. T2123 looking like put in a double bottom on the 15. What else were we looking at? Let's take a look at XLK one more time. Yeah, XLK gap down and just bullied all day. Never filled the gap though. Don't like that. SMH. Gap down, never filled the gap. Okay, so still some bearish sentiment out there. That gap should have got filled, and they failed to fill it. So maybe it's coming tomorrow, the gap fill. All right, on some of those. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, last one. IYT transports, lower high, lower low, closing underneath a bearish cross there, right back at the midpoint. Transports putting in Friday, nice topping tail, another topping tail today. Transports just can't get going. Definitely in a downtrend. Caught underneath the falling 17, caught underneath the falling all-time high anchored VWAP there. All right, traders, that's it for me for today. We'll see you guys tomorrow. I didn't have any really good trades today, not much at all. Okay, on SPY, on the 10 minute. Okay, I was looking for price action to. We got below the pivot, which was this area right here. So we got below the pivot. It's like 518.15, 580. It's like 581.15. We're up 581.05 or 581.15 right there. We were below the pivot. We had a downtrend, but this one didn't go anywhere. This one came back to VWAP and got held up right here with bullish engulfing. This got a bullish engulfing, and this one got a bullish engulfing. And after we put in this triple bottom, so I'm upside down on a position of 30 puts, and those are the 570 puts. So I sold 579s. No, I sold 569s. Yeah, 569s against them, because tomorrow's looking bullish with this 10-minute uptrend. We'll see what happens, all right? So we did not make a higher high, all right? So it's anybody's game tomorrow. We could find ourselves headed back down towards 570, or we could wind up chasing this breakdown candle high right here. So it's either here or we're headed for 570. And I think there's a possibility we head up for this. Maybe even a partial gap fill up here, or a gap fill and then head down to 570. We'll see. All right, so there's price action for SPY. So no good trades for me today. The only good trade I had was I did buy a few calls, because we gapped down and I had some calls, so I bought some of those calls, and I was able to exit with some of those calls that were upside down with a little profit. And that was it. Other than that, it was not a great day for me. Again, the game plan was just got chopped up with the SPY being choppy. Price was under VWAP, over VWAP, under VWAP, over VWAP, under VWAP. And after the triple bottom, we made a run back up for gap fill right there. All right, traders, that's it for me for today. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. All right, we'll look forward to seeing you guys at 8 o'clock. I got open house for everybody out there in digital land. In case you're wondering when my next open house is, it is Friday from 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. All right, hope to see you there. I will leave instructions for a link to get into the open house in the description of the video. All right, so that's it for me. All right, thanks everybody. Everybody have a great day. Big Green, what's going on? Where's that, Fido? Which one are you talking about?